Alright class, today we are learning about slope-intercept form. Now, slope-intercept form has a formula for the equation of a line using its slope and its y-intercept. And it's shown in this formula here. Y is equal to mx plus b, where the m is representative of our slope and where b is representative of our y-intercept. Okay, and remember that the y-intercept is the spot where the line will cross the y-axis. That's what it means by y-intercept. Okay, and we can use this to graph any line on a graph. Okay, and there are steps. Okay, our steps is that one, we want to start by placing our point at the y-intercept on the y-axis. Okay. And from that point, we're then going to use our slope to count to find our next point. Okay? And of course, we're going to need to be very careful about how we graph. Okay? So again, our first step is to find our point on a line. Okay, let's kind of come in here. And let's look at this real quick. We're going to start with our y-intercept. So in this equation, y is equal to negative 3x plus 2. Our y-intercept is going to be this number here, which is a positive 2. So if we start at 0 and we said 1, 2, then right here is going to be our y-intercept. Okay, and we're going to put a point there. From that point, we're going to use our slope to count to find our next point. Our slope is represented here, which is the number next to the x. It's not including the x, it's the number next to it. Okay? In this case, it's negative 3, which we can translate to negative 3 over 1, because that's how you put numbers, whole numbers, into fractions. So we're going to go down 3 from our starting point, which is the y-intercept. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go over to the right by 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. And we can do that and plot those points, and now we are ready to graph our line. Given that straight edge, we can go ahead and make our graph, give it some arrows, because that means that this line is going to go on and on forever and ever. Okay? We need at least 2 points to form a line. I like to use 3 just because it makes it for sure about where your line is heading. Okay? Let's do 2 more examples with you. Okay? Starting at the top, starting here at y is equal to negative 6x plus 6. Using our y-intercept, which is a positive 6, we're going to place our point right at the very top, which should be at positive 6. From there, we're going to go ahead and use our slope, which is negative 6. We're going to transform that into a fraction by putting that over 1. And that will tell us either our rise or our fall over our run. Okay? In this case, we're going to be falling by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to go over to the right by 1. And I can repeat that. 6 and 1. Okay? And I'm doing that because my directions say to do that because I have a negative slope. Okay? And with that, I can go ahead and draw my graph Okay, I'm going through those points, giving it that arrows indicating that this line continues in both directions forever. Okay? So this tells us that our y-intercept is 6. It's a positive 6. And our slope is negative 6 over 1. Okay? And that right there is our graph, and those are our answers that this is looking for. All right. Moving on to our next example. Okay? Our next example is y is equal to 0.5x minus 2. I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which is showing at negative 2. Okay, so on the graph, I'm going to go down by 2 onto my vertical line to show my y-intercept on the y-axis at negative 2. Next, from there, I'm going to count. Okay, I'm going to count in order to find my next point. Now, seeing that I'm at a 0.5, okay, I've got a decimal number here. Okay, personally, I'm not a fan of decimals, but I do know that at 0.5, that's the same thing as saying 1/2. Okay, 0.5 is 1/2 of 1. Okay, so I can write that as a slope of 1/2, which gives me my rise over run, which means that I can take, I can go from my point at my y-intercept, and I can rise 1, and I can run 2. I can rise 1 and run 2. I can rise 1 and run 2. And I have this slope of this line right here. And I'm going to go ahead and add those arrows like this. Okay? And we have the slope of our line, we have our y-intercept, and we have our graph. Okay, now it's your turn to use the examples that I've given you and to complete the 2 remaining questions on your front page of your notes. Okay? Good luck. Ask your teacher if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to help you as needed.